The plot opens with Simon and Robin, a married couple. Because of Simon's new employment, they relocated to a new house in California near where Simon previously lived. One day, while shopping for furniture, a man named Gordo approaches Simon and introduces himself as a high school classmate. Simon does not recognize him at first, but remembers when he is told his name. Because the couple is short on time, they ask Gordo to put his phone number on a piece of paper and then leave. The next day, Gordo leaves a bottle of wine on the couple's doorstep as a welcome gift. Robin pays a visit to her neighbor Lucy, who is caring for her infant. Robin informed her that she had a miscarriage and had fallen into depression. Gordo arrives at the couple's home while Simon is abroad on business. Robin invites him inside and takes him on a tour of the house. Gordo notices a toy monkey in one of the crates, and Robin informs him that Simon is afraid of monkeys. She then invites Gordo to join her for dinner. Later at the meal, Gordo discloses that Simon was their class president, and that with his slogan, Simon could obtain everything he wanted. Simon inquires as to what he did after high school. Gordo claims to have joined the military. He subsequently tells Simon that he is grateful for everything that has occurred to him, including an outstanding job, a lovely wife, and a nice home. Simon tells his wife after dinner that he feels horrible about Gordo and that he bothers him. He went on to say that Gordo must be delusory to think they were friends when they barely knew each other. The pair comes home the next night after attending a party at Simon's new workplace. They discover another gift from Gordo, this time containing fish food. They later discover that Gordo provided them with fish for their pond. Robin wishes to express gratitude to Gordo, but Simon protests because Gordo entered their land without permission. Simon scratches out Gordo's name on the fridge and replaces it with Strange, his high school nickname. The next day, Gordo returns to their residence, where Robin is alone. Robin asks him to tea and enters. When putting out the trash, Gordo assists them in setting up their television. Gordo notices the weirdness scrawled on the fridge, appears irritated, and departs in the evening. The pair dines with a neighbor and a couple from Simon's workplace. They discuss Gordo, and Robin thinks he's wonderful. Simon expresses surprise that Gordo continues to invite them to supper at his house, despite seeing the insult he scribbled on the fridge. Everyone tells them not to accept the invitation, but they still go. Simon and Robin are startled to discover that Gordo owns a magnificent home. A few moments later, Gordo receives a call from work requesting that he depart for a few minutes. While they are alone, Simon informs Robin that Gordo is infatuated with her and wants to nail her because of the gifts and numerous trips to their house by Gordo when she is alone. The two then investigate the residence and discover that Gordo has a wife and children. When Gordo arrives, Simon inquires about his job and how he affords the lavish home. Gordon then admits that he had been lying. He did not leave due to a lack of work. He spoke with his ex-wife, who recently left him and took their children with her. Simon is unmoved by Gordo's story, so he asks his wife to wait for him in the car. Simon then instructs Gordo not to come back to their house. Outside, Robin glances at Gordo, pitying him, and the couple walks away. The next day, Robin and Simon discover that all of the fish in their pond have died, and their dog has gone missing. Simon is so enraged that he returns to Gordo's residence. A woman answers the door and informs Simon that she is unaware of someone named Gordo. The couple calls the police, who discover that the property belongs to the owner of a car rental firm, and that they have granted Gordo access to their garage so that he may pick up and return the car he hired. Simon accuses Gordo of murdering the fish and taking their dog, but the cops can't go to Gordo's house without a warrant and proof that he stole their dog. Robin hears something and checks it while printing a lost dog poster. She notices the faucet is on. Robin becomes terrified and runs to Lucy's house to tell her what happened. Lucy offers to accompany her to check the house, but Robin declines, claiming that it could all be in her head because she has been having difficulties sleeping lately. She sees some sleeping pills in Lucy's bathroom and takes them with her. Robin takes the sleeping tablets that night, while Simon is sleeping. She's ready to go back into bed when she realizes their front yard light is turned on. When she examines it, she discovers that her dog has returned and is overjoyed. Simon suspects Gordo is tampering with them. The next morning, Robin discovers a note from Gordo apologizing for the dinner. He claims he used someone else's house because he would be ashamed if they discovered his true address. He promises to leave him alone from now on. He attached a statement to the back of the letter for Simon, indicating he will let bygones be bygones. Robin inquires as to its significance, but Simon replies that he has no idea and that Gordo is simply an unstable man. He then instructs Robin to forget about him and go on. Robin is still having difficulties sleeping at night and is experiencing nightmares about Gordo. She is still aware that Gordo is watching her while she is preparing breakfast. When she checks, she feels unwell and passes out. Simon learns at work that he is competing for the promotion with a man named Danny McDonald. He tries to tell Robin, but she was passed out the night before. When he confronts her about the pills, she tells him that she took them because she is upset about what happened with Gordo. She is terrified that he will appear unexpectedly while she is alone. She requests that Simon make peace with Gordo. As Robin inquires about the meaning of bygones be bygones, Simon becomes enraged and orders her to go on. He then advises her to proceed and let time heal everything. Robin does this and appears to forget about Gordo as she goes about her life. She quickly becomes pregnant again. Everything was going swimmingly until one day. She and Lucy go shopping. Lucy informs Robin that a frightening man standing outside the business is gazing at her. She goes outdoors and discovers that it is Gordo. She kept it a secret from Simon. She approaches Simon's sister Joan and asks whether she remembers Gordo from high school. Joan reveals that Gordo was expelled because an older child abused him in a car. Simon and his friend Greg assisted in putting a stop to it and reporting the occurrence. Everyone at school discovered the truth and tormented Gordo for being gay. Robin then visits Simon's home office to learn more. She initially discovers Danny McDonald's background check file, then Gordo's file. She discovers that Gordo has been accused with various charges, including breaking and entering and attempted kidnapping of a youngster. He was also discharged from the military for unsuitable behavior and was subjected to court-ordered rehabilitation. Robin then searches for Simon's friend Greg on the internet and meets him at his workplace. She inquires about Gordo and informs him that Gordo is threatening to harm her and her husband over an incident that she does not understand. When Robin inquires about the incident in high school in which Simon and Greg assisted in preventing Gordo from being molested, Greg admits that the entire story was fabricated by Simon. She inquires as to why Simon would do such a thing. Greg responds that Simon is a tyrant who can do whatever he wants. One of his goals was Gordo. Simon basically destroyed the life of one of the vulnerable kids. Due of that falsehood, Gordo's father attempted to murder Gordo and was sentenced to prison. Simon is having a conversation with a co-worker that night. Robin overhears them discussing Simon's competition for the promotion, Danny McDonald. Danny appears to be in trouble and is being probed. After Simon's co-worker leaves, Robin confronts him with what she has discovered. Simon is furious with her for talking behind his back. He refuses to apologize to Gordo and believes that he should just swallow his pride and move on with his life. Robin is furious and hits him, claiming he was and still is a bully. To make amends with Robin, Simon goes to Gordo to apologize, but Gordo warns him that it is too late. Simon becomes enraged and throws Gordo's belongings. He kicks him and bullies him once again. Simon pushes Gordo to accept his apology and threatens to harm him if he returns to his family. Simon later lies to Robin, claiming that Gordo has accepted his apologies and that the incident is officially finished. Simon was promoted over Danny, and they celebrated with their neighbors and co-workers one night. They hear a tremendous bang upstairs, followed by a rock thrown at their window. When they go outside to check, someone suddenly pushes Simon and flees away, but Simon manages to catch up with him. Danny McDonald, it turns out. Danny is furious with Simon for creating information about him to his superiors. Danny not only lost his promotion, but also his current employment. When they hear the police siren, Danny begs Simon not to arrest him, and Simon lets him go. Robin then declares that she is about to give birth. Robin gives birth to a healthy baby boy in the hospital. Simon later receives a call from his boss informing him that he has been sacked as a result of the lie he told Danny. Simon approaches Robin, who informs him that she no longer wishes to return home with him. Simon is heartbroken and returns home. When he comes, he notices a gift at the front door. It's a car seat for a baby. There are also other boxes inside. One holds Simon's house key. The other has an audio clip of Simon disparaging Gordo on the night he invited him and Robin to supper. The final one includes another CD with a video recording of Simon and Robin enjoying supper and periods when Robin is alone at home. As Simon sees the recording of Robin at the time she passed out, he bursts into tears. He notices Gordo donning a monkey mask and taking advantage of his unconscious wife. Simon recognizes the baby Robin given birth to as Gordo's. Simon is enraged and returns to the hospital. Meanwhile, Gordo pays a visit to Robin at the hospital and congratulates her on the birth of her child. When Robin inquires about Gordo's injury, he responds that Simon simply lost control and beat him. Simon arrives at the hospital and discovers that Robin has left her room. He notices Gordo entering the elevator but is unable to stop him. Later, Simon receives a phone call from Gordo, who is still in the hospital. Gordo assures him that he never touched Robin. Later, he tells him that perhaps he did, and that this is what happens when you poison other people's minds with notions. Simon approaches the baby to examine his eyes more closely. He's still unsure whether it's his or Gordo's. Robin frowns at him, and the nurse begins to close the drapes. Simon is crushed, slumping and sobbing against the wall. Gorda observes Simon before departing while removing the sling from his arm. His aim to wreck Simon's life has been completed.